Okay. Thanks, you guys.
Whoops, sorry. Wrong button.
All right. As we were walking around, one of the things that emerged for us as observers was more about the process that you all just engaged in. Not so much the content and determining formative and interim and summative. We want you just to take a couple minutes, 2 minutes, and think and reflect about your group's process. What was important about it?
So they're going to shift hats from the person who created the stage 2 to being metacognitive?
Yes. And what might be important for people who are learning this? Go ahead and post some of those thoughts in Edmodo.
Consider lowering your computer monitors and adjust so you can see the screen. In a minute, we're going to show you another video. Another video that deals with stage 2. What we'd like you to look for is alignment between stage 1 and alignment between stage 2. So you're going to want an index card. There are index cards on your table. If they're not index cards on your table, we'll find some for you. Or a sticky note works just fine. So we're going to watch a video, primary children. And this is the Brazil project. So as you watch, I want you to think about I want you to infer what the outcomes are for stage 1, because you're going to look at the assessment for stage 2. So we're going to watch this video.
Creating a school to serve nearly 500 3- to 5-year-olds might seem like a recipe for disaster. Some days are chaotic here, like when the Auburn University pep squad shows up, or when a tornado touches down nearby.
Boys and girls, please move into the weather location at this time. We will come around and check on everyone.
But on a typical day, the students and staff at Alabama's Auburn Early Education Center are busily engaged in learning adventures like sailing a cardboard cruise ship to Africa, or flying a plastic plane into Brazil.
You go ahead and give her your boarding pass.
For them, the lifelong learning exploration can't begin too soon. Just about everything that goes on here involves long-term projects that students undertake as a class.
Do you know where that is, what it's called?
South America, Brazil.
It is Brazil. And this is the place that you were studying about.
That is a big place.
It is
The theme for each project evolves out of the natural curiosity of the kids.
Here is some information about the camel, and it says
Once the students decide on a theme, teachers guide them to resources in books and on the internet to help focus their efforts.
Let's say that the theme is Brazil, and they begin to study Brazil. They go on the internet, they look up information, then they decide, well, we want to go there. And the teachers pose to them, well, how can we get there?
And if they didn't have the map, they couldn't get there.
They couldn't get there.
Then they may decide, well, we're going by plane. We need to construct some type of model of plane. And the teachers get the internet resources, the book resources, they take them on the field trip.
Where did you get the information to know that?
Well, we went to the Auburn airport to see all the instruments. There was instruments inside planes to make it work. So these make us how fast we're going, how slow, and
The kids are very highly motivated to be involved because they're doing it for a reason. It's not just an arbitrary, cutesy activity that has no real meaning or value for them. So that's why teaching using thematic curriculum keeps the kids very engaged in the activities.
You have to have your passport to get on the plane.
this is your captain speaking. We're flying to Brazil, and we don't expect a lot of turbulence.
All of it involves developing.
And what I want you to do is think about this Brazil unit, what the assessment was for stage 2. We're doing some inferring, and what the outcomes were probably in stage 1 for this Brazil unit. Take a moment and do some self-reflecting. When you hear the music, I'd like you to have a shoulder conversation with the person on either your right or left about what you observed in this video and what you inferred in this video for alignment between stage 1 and stage 2. So take a minute, share what you have on your card with one of your shoulder partners. If you would thank your shoulder partner. Holly's got a mic in the back. I've got another one up front. And Christy has a mic. So I'm going to give it to Robin. We want to know what your thoughts were. What were your observations? Are you checking to see if the mic works? Hello.
Guys, we're ready.
Kim, what were your
We just thought you were going to do your hand.
Oh, we got one.
Oh, okay. What we talked
Hey,
about
can we
was...
have you, I know it's yucky, but
Stand?
would you stand, please?
Okay, I feel like I should start singing now, too.
Well,
All right, excellent, Bob. No, we talked about how we needed more clarity on what the outcomes were to determine if that was a valuable lesson or not, because the outcomes initially seemed like it was about Brazil, but then there was a lot of activity and project around an airplane and the roles, the kind of role playing and all that kind of thing seemed divergent from what we thought the focus was supposed to be on.
so raise your hand if that was something that you guys discussed at your table. So look around the room. A lot of people noticed that. The title is called Brazil Project in the YouTube video. What else? What other observations did you have? Noreen.
We thought one outcome was that students could construct a model.
So if the stage 1 was about constructing a model and they were doing this model airplane, this was a great assessment where they had to build it and role play. You need a mic. What were your other observations?
I thought he was using technical vocabulary, communicating with each other, presenting in front of kids, all the things we want them to do.
So the outcome in stage 1 you're inferring was about communication, collaboration, and presenting skills.
That's not what I wrote down.
Okay. Because the assessment could have been about collaboration, communication. What are your other observations?
Maybe that they were.
stand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Amy.
Maybe that they were just developing the tools and strategies reflecting real-world experiences.
So the stage 1
that.
outcome would have been about real-world experiences and careers, which is very appropriate for preschoolers.
Right.
Right.
I think they were presented with an authentic problem. How do we get to Brazil? And that's an authentic problem. The problem is that, again, what you said, that's not, their outcome is not how to get to Brazil. Their outcome seems to be learning about Brazil.
I was just going to piggyback on that because we just saw it as that they were aware that there is a multitude of different processes involved in getting to Brazil. I mean, so many jobs, so many processes, just the whole thing. I was thinking their big understanding was like processes or, part to whole.
But could they have gone to someplace else?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Robin?
Yeah, I said, why don't they just go to Timbuktu? Why Brazil? What does Brazil have to do with any of what I saw?
So did anybody think about the amount of time that went into the preparation for this airplane?
Well, what we were talking about was analyzing transportation, like analyzing modes of transportation. Why do we use them?
And they talked about going to the Auburn Airport. So if the outcome, and if in the stage 1 it was about transportation and roles, that would have been a great performance assessment.
So we're thinking the alignment wasn't there. So the alignment wasn't there between the outcomes and the assessment.
So here's what we are agreeing with you. Here's what we notice. When you look at this video, it's in Edutopia. It's also at Buck Institute, BIE. It is framed as a preschool Brazil unit.
Because they showed Brazil. All the kids were talking about the country of Brazil.
Correct.
So that's where we went with Brazil. But then if you look at their assessment, it was all about travel. So,
but maybe when they landed, they had like a culture fair. Things from Brazil, we don't know.
And we are making a lot of assumptions.
Well, I just think it could, I mean, you asked the question, does it have to be Brazil? What I was thinking, and maybe I'm giving them too much credit, is somehow that was driven by the students' interest. Something had happened in their little community, and they all wanted to know about Brazil. So the teachers, I don't know,
built an airplane
and
built a box to scan and built little.
And maybe that's one of their state standards in preschool, is they understand, transportation.
Which
Our question at this table is, how do we know this isn't a stage 3 activity and not a stage 2 assessment?
I question that. And I think about how guilty I've been as an elementary teacher with lots of activities, not aligned to anything rigorous.
But if their outcomes had to do with research and development skills, then it was a home run, in my opinion. Because it said in there that they chose Brazil, that they were interested, that they generated a lot of these things, that they investigated, that they went to these places. I wonder how much they designed about the final project, and those little life vests seemed really well constructed.
I love the scanning box,
yeah,
the hours that went into the
boxes.
scanning.
Yeah, but if that's what their outcome was, then it was a home run.
Yeah.
And I would say, to their credit, basing all of our interpretations upon their title in YouTube or something, and 2 minutes and 45 seconds, just to be fair.
So Holly, talk to us about what happened this summer when we showed this to teachers at Gouda, and some of the observations they had that I had missed.
Well, we didn't watch enough of it, I don't think, to see all those observations, but there definitely was some gender bias within the roles of the students that were, and race bias in some roles of what the students were doing. So you have to watch the whole thing, and maybe not, obviously not intentionally, but it was still there. And the biggest piece, when the teacher introduces this unit, and she even talks about it at the very beginning of the video, this is about Brazil, we're exploring Brazil. The teacher says that that's what they're doing, that is their outcome. And then I think this group really nailed it. Where is that alignment? This is a great activity, and it really could be an amazing learning opportunity for research and development. In stage, right. But the alignment is just so, compared to what the teacher said at the beginning to what the students were doing, is not there.
And I thought it was brilliant from the teachers this summer who caught that the boys had the higher paying roles in the role play, and the girls had the lower paying roles, and there was even an ethnic issue going on there. So when you watch it again, you're going to be going, oh, wow.
It's bigger than just that 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yep. Yeah. So I want you all to shift your chairs to the back of the room. Oh, we have one more. Go ahead. Yes, Kim.
I was going to say, just to wrap up, that this brings our conversation around stage 1, stage 2, and we're trying to assume a bunch of things and make evaluations based on that. It makes me think of our site evaluation and how anytime any evaluator or observer goes into a room, they're seeing one little snippet. And this is a very good reminder that we need to have conversation to find out what the teacher is intending, what the students are taking away. That's just a great reminder for me.
That is a great observation, Kim, that you need the whole picture. Brilliant. Yeah. So I want you to shift. We're going to shift gears.
Can I have a thought on that?
You can have a thought on that.
Can I share a thought on that?
Kristen, is this where I don't give her the mic?
Yeah, really.
I'm leaning in.
You're right. That comment that was just made about sight and needing to understand that is one of the things I have said, that because I'm a BRT/AP or AP/BRT.
Yeah, many hats.
Many hats. What I'm saying is that it is so important for these teachers to have a backward plan, because as their evaluator, I need to see their whole thinking into the learning plan, that stage 3, so I know when I come in, I'm only seeing that one, probably stage 3, one day of a learning plan, and I need to know everything. So I was saying where it fits in the big picture, so that's why I was saying it's really important when teachers are coming to their pre-conference and then their post-conference, and to be able to have that backward plan done on that unit. I mean, it really is important.
Nice observation. Okay, switch.
Now I don't mind. And I also think we need to be very mindful. You know, we've been doing this work between the work we did at Mesa and now that we're doing at Rockridge with IB planners. The expectation that teachers are doing everything in a backwards plan that's effective in 5 months, we're still not there. And it's been 4 or 5 years of constructing it together, working with teachers, trying to get it aligned, and it's still not every unit, every day, every lesson plan. And I think we need to be very mindful of that and take a deep breath, because it's not easy.
Which is why I show my 3 units, so people know that it is a process. Somebody on the Edmodo, one of the headlines yesterday I loved was, "It's okay to suck." Yeah, I mean, I think that we have to honor that growth. So I want you to switch gears. Why did I show you that video? Why would you use this with your colleagues as a trainer? Why? Amy. My mic people turn into writers.
I just think sometimes when we think about performance assessments, teachers think if kids are doing something authentic like this, it's wonderful and great, but making sure it connects back to their outcomes.
So part of it was knowing
to see them. Just because it's a good performance assessment doesn't mean it connects.
Okay, so see that misalignment, potential misalignment, because we are inferring. What else? Why did we do this?
I think also through the looking at what wasn't aligned, it pulled out your understandings of what alignment might look like. So even though it may or may not be an example.
So it goes back to what we talked about yesterday. In our training, we have planned, here's what it is. We have also planned, here's what it is not. It's that back to Marzano. You teach what it is, you teach what it is not. When your brain remembers things, it puts like things together, but when it pulls it out on differences. So we not only teach what it looks like with good models, we also teach what it doesn't look like. So in your training, you want to use, this is a good model, this is a not good model, and make sure they unpack it. How did we unpack this video? What did you do first? Mic that baby. What did we do first? What did you do first? So First of all, we taught what stage 2 was and got you into stage 2 and you got to practice it. Then when we showed the video,
we practiced is what I was going to, no.
So
we reflected on what we saw before we got another experience with viewing it and making judgment.
So when you are working with a group, sometimes it's hard for your audience to find their voice. Do you notice when you work with your own staffs that you have people who are very brave about speaking up and you have people who don't speak up? So you want to honor and respect every voice in the room. One strategy is to have people do it by themselves first, hence the index card. So you did it self first, then what was next after you did it on the index card? Then you had them find their voice with a safe person, shoulder to shoulder, before you did it with the whole table in the room. So as a trainer, and I know you know this, I just want to make sure we get it documented. As a trainer, when your audience is silent, one strategy is to have them do a self-reflect, a shoulder reflect, and then out to the whole group. Questions? So here's what we're going to do. Shifting parts of the room. Kristen Drury, why am I shifting parts of the room?
We just know it's important that the place that you present is a similar place because people start to know to reference that space. And when you are debriefing or talking about process, that you're in a separate space. Just like good teachers, if they're in the same place in the room for giving information and content, kids are likely to listen differently than if they're in a different space trying to give directions for lining up and process type of pieces. Okay.
You want the slide?
Please. I want the remote to work. So, in your training of trainers, we are skipping this because of time, and we are inferring a boatload. You have the opportunity to have your audience at this time do a quick check with a 1, 2, 3 card, or you can do it in Edmodo with the survey. So it's one of the things we have in the PowerPoint. This is modeling, again, that checking for understanding. Then you could have your participants go to the flip charts and look for alignment between stage 1 and stage 2. However, when Kristen and I were working the room, I was amazed at watching groups change their enduring understandings. I was amazed at the conversations that you were having about the alignment between stage 1 and stage 2. You will have to judge your audience. You have gotten this really well. That wasn't the case a month ago. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you work time for 15 minutes, or we respect that you might want to head to lunch early, but want to make sure you have time to work on your own unit. So you can stay here and work for 15 minutes and go to lunch. We respect that you can make your own decisions. Or you may go to lunch and come back and start working on your stage 2. We want you to do what you want to do. If you need to go now, fine. We will start back at 12:20. We'll start back at 12:20 and move on to stage 3. So when you come back, we're moving on to stage 3. You do have some time to work because we were doing 45 minutes for lunch. Now you have an hour and 5 minutes for lunch. So you do have some time to think about your own stage 2. If you would like, if you want to eat longer, I respect your right to choose. Goodbye. Because I am the superhero today. So have a great lunch.